LSS Six Sigma. Define phase. Deliverables of the define phase. Introduction. The define phase is the first and one of the most crucial stages in the Lean Six Sigma (LSS) methodology. It forms the foundation for all process improvement initiatives by developing a clear understanding of the business problem, project scope, and targeted goals. This phase ensures alignment among team members and key stakeholders, fostering a unified approach and a strong start to the project. The primary objective is to provide clarity and direction before moving into more detailed analysis and solution development. Let's begin by understanding what the define phase is all about. This is the very first step in our project journey, and it lays the foundation for everything that follows. During this phase, there are 4 key activities we focus on. Identifying the problem. We ask, what exactly are we trying to solve? It's important to clearly define the issue or challenge so the team stays aligned. Defining the project scope. Here, we clarify the boundaries of the project. What's included and what's not. This helps prevent scope creep later on. Establishing project goals. Next, we set clear, measurable goals. What do we want to achieve by the end of this project? Creating a project charter. This is a formal document that outlines everything from the objectives and timeline to the team members involved and the expected benefits. It serves as our project's contract or guiding document. Think of this phase as setting the GPS for our project. If we don't define where we're going and why, we risk going off course. In this slide, we're looking at the key objectives of the define phase. Each of these steps helps to ensure that the project starts with clarity and purpose. Let's walk through them one by one. Problem identification. The first step is to clearly identify what needs improvement. We look for gaps or inefficiencies in the current process that need to be addressed. Identify stakeholders. Next, we determine who will be impacted by this initiative. These could be customers, employees, or business units. Knowing our stakeholders ensures we align the project with their needs. Gather voice and identify. CTQ stands for Critical to Quality. At this stage, we gather stakeholder feedback and define what is most important to them. This helps shape the project requirements around real needs. Develop project charter. Once we have our problem, stakeholders, and CTQs identified, we formally document everything in the project charter. This includes objectives, scope, timeline, and roles. Get charter approval. Finally, we seek approval from the project sponsor or leadership. This step validates that the project is worth pursuing and ensures support going forward. All of these steps are crucial for setting a strong foundation before moving into deeper analysis or solution design. Problem identification. This slide focuses on what is arguably the most critical step in the Lean Six Sigma journey. Problem identification. With so many processes in an organization, it's common to find areas that are not performing optimally. The key challenge is to pinpoint the right problem to solve. That's what makes this step so important. It sets the stage for meaningful improvement by directing our efforts where they will have the biggest impact. Now, identifying the right project isn't just about spotting any issue. It involves careful evaluation and prioritization. We need to ensure that the problem we choose to address is not only real, but also significant enough to justify the effort. That's why many organizations use structured selection methods, like impact effort matrices or stakeholder alignment tools, to choose high-impact projects. These methods help ensure that our resources and time are spent on problems that align with strategic goals. In short, a well-defined problem is the foundation for a successful project. Elements of charter. This slide highlights the key elements that often drive the creation of a Lean Six Sigma project charter. Understanding these elements helps ensure that projects are relevant, impactful, and aligned with both customer needs and business priorities. Let's break down the three core elements. Customer-centric drivers. One of the most effective ways to identify a project is by looking at what matters most to the customer, whether that's resolving major pain points or addressing their highest priorities. If an organization has failed to meet customer expectations, that becomes a clear trigger for launching an improvement initiative. Penalty or reward-based metrics projects may also be selected based on performance metrics tied to customer contracts. For example, customers may impose penalties or offer incentives based on service levels, timeliness, or quality. These metrics help prioritize projects that directly affect customer satisfaction and compliance. Internal business drivers. Lastly, projects may come from internal strategic goals. These could include improving profit margins, increasing revenue, or reducing waste and defects. By aligning these projects with both customer needs and business outcomes, we ensure a maximum return on our Lean Six Sigma efforts. In summary, a strong project charter begins with clear justification, whether it's customer-driven, performance-based, or tied to internal goals. The project charter outlines the foundation of any project. It starts with the business case, explaining why the project is needed, followed by the opportunity statement, which quantifies the problem. The goal statement defines what the project aims to achieve within a set time frame, and the scope clarifies what's included or excluded. The benefits outline the tangible and intangible value expected from the project. Next, team identification ensures the right people are assigned with clear responsibilities. Summary milestones provide key checkpoints, while the communication plan ensures timely updates to stakeholders. A flowchart visualizes the steps in the process, and the SIPOC diagram summarizes key process components: suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, and customers. Together, these elements create a clear roadmap for successful project execution. Business case. In this section, we're learning how to build and present a compelling business case, an essential first step in any successful project. Every organization faces multiple opportunities for improvement, but not every idea gets approved. That's why it's critical to clearly communicate why your project should move forward. The business case should highlight three key elements: the urgency, the potential impact, and how the project aligns with organizational goals. Equally important is understanding your audience, particularly the project sponsor. Sponsors play a key role in securing resources and removing roadblocks. But to gain their support, you must demonstrate the value of the project clearly and confidently. To do this effectively, ask yourself a few core questions. Why is this project important right now? What specific problem does it address? Who benefits from this solution? How will it improve performance, reduce cost, or boost customer satisfaction? In this slide, we reinforce the importance of building a strong business case when proposing a project. A well-crafted business case is more than just a formality. It's a tool for securing stakeholder buy-in and support. But beyond approval, it also helps lay the foundation for long-term project success. The key is in alignment. A strong business case ensures that the project is in sync with strategic goals, customer needs, and resource availability. It helps everyone, from the sponsor to the delivery team, understand the purpose, value, and priorities of the project. When your business case is clear, compelling, and connected to organizational objectives, it drives confidence and commitment from all involved. When building a business case, think of it as your sales pitch. You're persuading decision-makers to support your project. To do that, you need to clearly and confidently answer a few essential questions. Start with, why is this a priority? Highlight the urgency and why this project deserves attention now. Then ask, what's not working right? This helps define the current problem or inefficiency that needs fixing. Next, consider, what is impacted if it's not handled now? This could include productivity, customer satisfaction, or financial losses. Also, address, what are the consequences of not doing it? Be specific about potential risks, delays, or missed opportunities. Don't forget, why use the Six Sigma method? Link your approach to the problem at hand. Show how it ensures structured, data-driven solutions. Finally, ask, what else should we know? This is your chance to include any supporting data or context that adds weight to your case. By answering these questions thoroughly, you'll create a strong, persuasive business case that increases your chances of project approval and success. In this slide, we begin discussing how to actually write a compelling business case, a crucial step when starting a Lean Six Sigma project. The business case sets the foundation. It helps stakeholders understand why the project matters and, most importantly, why it deserves time, attention, and resources. The first core component of a business case is the high-level process overview. This is where you briefly describe the process involved, especially helpful for stakeholders who may not be familiar with it. The goal is to give just enough context so they can understand the scope and relevance of the project. Keep in mind, this overview should be concise and focused, giving a clear picture of the process you're aiming to improve without going into technical detail just yet. Continuing with the components of a strong business case, let's talk about the problem or opportunity statement. Here, it's important to clearly define the issue that needs to be solved, or the opportunity your project is targeting. Keep it focused, specific, and based on facts. Avoid vague statements and make sure it's grounded in real, observable data. Next is the impact of the problem. This is where you describe the consequences of inaction. Whether it's customer dissatisfaction, financial loss, inefficiencies, or risk to reputation, this section helps show the urgency of the problem and why it's worth addressing now. Together, these elements help justify the need for the project and make a stronger case for support and approval. While crafting a business case, it's just as important to know what not to include as it is to know what to include. First, do not include root cause analysis. At this stage, the goal is simply to define what the problem is, not to analyze why it's happening. Root cause analysis comes later in the DMAG process during the analyze phase. Second, avoid listing proposed solutions. Solutions are also developed later in the project journey. Including them too early can create bias and reduce the objectivity of the project. The focus now should be on clearly presenting the problem and its impact, not jumping ahead to fix it. By keeping your business case focused and unbiased, you lay a strong, neutral foundation for problem-solving down the line. This slide illustrates a practical example of how to build a business case using a real-world scenario, specifically outsourced insurance back-office operations. Let's walk through the case. The organization featured here, XYZ, is a large insurance company that has outsourced its back-office services to our firm. These operations are carried out by a team of 40 members who work 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. This gives us a high-level process overview of the work environment, an essential first step in constructing a solid business case. It sets the stage for understanding the operational context and resource capacity. Now we identify the problem. In recent months, the back-office team has been facing high attrition, a common and critical issue in service delivery. This attrition has directly impacted the quality of work being delivered to the client. More specifically, the quality scores, which are tied to penalty clauses in the service agreement, have started to decline. This means that not only is customer satisfaction at risk, but there could also be financial consequences for the service provider due to these quality shortfalls. This example clearly outlines the problem description and demonstrates why immediate attention is necessary. High turnover is affecting productivity and quality, and if left unaddressed, it could harm the business relationship and incur financial penalties. By showcasing this example, we emphasize how to present a compelling, fact-based business case that highlights operational challenges, their consequences, and the urgency to act, all while staying within the boundaries of what a business case should include. The what, not yet the why or how. This sets the stage for moving into the next phases of the DMI cycle. This slide continues the example of insurance back-office operations by highlighting the declining quality scores, which are tied to performance penalties and risk customer dissatisfaction. Due to high attrition, the team is constantly backfilling roles, increasing hiring and training costs. At the same time, growing backlogs have led to overtime payouts, compounding financial strain. These issues justify the need for a focused improvement project. The slide effectively demonstrates how operational and financial pressures can form a strong business case for initiating a quality improvement initiative like Six Sigma. E-commerce, CSAT decline. XYZ is a major e-commerce company known for offering a diverse range of multi-brand products to its customers. As part of its efforts to monitor and maintain customer loyalty, the company regularly conducts monthly CSAT surveys. Recently, these surveys have revealed a sharp decline in customer satisfaction scores, falling below the benchmarks set by senior leadership. This drop indicates potential underlying issues in areas like service quality, delivery accuracy, product availability, or post-purchase support. The decline not only poses a risk to customer retention and brand perception, but also signals an urgent need for a focused improvement initiative. Identifying and addressing the root causes will be essential to restoring customer trust and maintaining competitive advantage. The noticeable drop in CSAT scores presents several critical business risks. Lower customer satisfaction directly affects loyalty, reducing the likelihood of repeat purchases and weakening overall brand reputation. It also impacts word-of-mouth referrals, which are vital for organic growth in the e-commerce space. As a result, XYZ faces potential consequences like higher customer churn, declining market share, and challenges in maintaining premium pricing. These impacts are not just operational, but strategic, affecting revenue, competitiveness, and long-term brand equity. Considering these risks, it is clear that this issue requires a focused improvement effort to restore customer satisfaction and protect business performance. The noticeable drop in CSAT scores presents several critical business risks. Lower customer satisfaction directly affects loyalty, reducing the likelihood of repeat purchases and weakening overall brand reputation. It also impacts word-of-mouth referrals, which are vital for organic growth in the e-commerce space. As a result, XYZ faces potential consequences like higher customer churn, declining market share, and challenges in maintaining premium pricing. These impacts are not just operational, but strategic, affecting revenue, competitiveness, and long-term brand equity. Considering these risks, it is clear that this issue requires a focused improvement effort to restore customer satisfaction and protect business performance. Let's look at the second critical issue: delays in talent acquisition at XYZ Holdings. XYZ Holdings is a well-established player in the Indian market, offering roofing solutions and building materials. However, despite its strong industry presence, the company is currently struggling with hiring timelines. This isn't just a routine HR issue, it's a strategic concern. The inability to recruit the right talent within the required time frame is now acting as a serious roadblock to the company's growth and day-to-day efficiency. So, what's the real impact? Delayed hiring is causing a ripple effect across several key performance indicators. Production targets are being missed, quality standards are slipping, and customer satisfaction scores are falling. Even worse, this has started to affect repeat business, which is essential for sustained profitability. If these issues persist, they could compromise the company's competitive edge in the market. Therefore, resolving this delay in talent acquisition isn't optional. It's a critical priority to ensure the organization's long-term success and performance stability. Problem statement. Now, let's focus on the problem or opportunity statement. In this case, we're dealing with a problem, specifically delays in talent acquisition at XYZ Holdings. To clearly communicate the scale of the issue, we need to quantify it. Over the past 12 months, the company has experienced an average delay of 45 to 60 days in filling key positions. This delay has directly contributed to a 12% shortfall in production targets, a 9% dip in quality scores, and a 15% decrease in customer satisfaction. CSAT. The financial impact is also significant. Delayed hiring has led to an estimated revenue loss of 8 to 10 crores annually, primarily due to missed project deadlines and reduced customer retention. These metrics highlight not just a recruitment issue, but a broader operational and financial challenge. By addressing this problem, we have a clear opportunity to restore efficiency, improve customer experience, and safeguard the company's growth trajectory. This data-driven approach ensures that the issue is not seen as anecdotal or HR-specific, but as a strategic priority with measurable consequences. Let's now explore the magnitude of the consequence. Just how significant is this talent acquisition issue for XYZ Holdings? When we look at the numbers over the past 12-month period, the impact is quite substantial. Due to consistent delays in hiring, key roles have remained vacant for an average of 45 to 60 days, disrupting workflows and directly affecting operational efficiency. This has led to a 12% drop in production output, which means the company is falling short of meeting market demand. Additionally, quality scores have dipped by 9%, pointing to compromised workmanship or rushed output to compensate for staffing gaps. Customer satisfaction, or CSAT, has also suffered, with a decline of 15%, reflecting increased complaints, missed deadlines, and unmet expectations. Perhaps most alarming is the estimated revenue loss of 8 to 10 crores annually, tied to missed project deadlines, delayed service delivery, and reduced repeat business. These numbers aren't just performance dips. They signal a strategic risk. Left unaddressed, this problem could erode the company's competitive edge and long-term profitability. It's clear that the consequences of delayed hiring are broad, deep, and financially damaging, making immediate action not only necessary, but urgent. Let's now look at how to write an effective problem statement, a critical part of any business case. A strong problem statement does more than describe a challenge. It quantifies it, compares it to expectations, and builds urgency for change. There are two essential components to keep in mind. 1. Numerical representation of the problem. We need to represent the issue using hard data, percentages, financial figures, or performance metrics. For example, at XYZ Holdings, hiring delays have led to an average vacancy period of 45 to 60 days, contributing to a 12% shortfall in production, a 9% dip in quality, and a 15% decline in customer satisfaction. These are not just symptoms. They are measurable consequences of a systemic issue. 2. Compare current, as-is, performance to target. Next, we must clearly outline the performance gap. For instance, if the target hiring turnaround time is 30 days, but the current average is 55 days, that's a 25-day gap. Similarly, if CSAT targets are set at 90% and the current rate is only 75%, that's a visible 15-point drop. This kind of comparison makes the need for intervention unmistakable. Together, these elements help us craft a problem statement that's concrete, compelling, and actionable. It transforms vague concern into a focused business priority. By doing this, we shift from saying we have a hiring problem to we are missing revenue targets and customer satisfaction goals due to a 25-day delay in filling critical roles. 3. Central tendency of the data. This means looking at the average or typical value to understand overall performance. For example, the mean time to fill open positions at XYZ Holdings might be 55 days, which helps us grasp the general hiring timeline. Sometimes the median or mode may be used if the data is skewed or has outliers. 4. Variability of the data. Just knowing the average isn't enough. We also need to understand how consistent or inconsistent the performance is. This is where variability comes in, measured by range or standard deviation. For instance, if the time to hire ranges from 30 to 90 days, with a high standard deviation, it means some hires take much longer than others, pointing to unpredictable recruitment processes. 5. Duration of data. Choosing the right time frame for data is crucial. The data should be recent and long enough to show meaningful trends, but not so extended that it becomes outdated. For example, using 12 months of hiring data strikes a good balance, capturing seasonal effects and long-term trends without losing relevance to the current situation. Including these elements makes the problem statement more robust and credible, helping stakeholders fully understand the scope and nature of the issue. To wrap up this section on writing a data-driven problem statement, let's focus on a few final best practices that ensure credibility and impact. First, ensure that your analysis is statistically valid. This means working with a sufficient sample size, at least 30 data points. This helps ensure that the results are reliable and not just random fluctuations. For example, if you're analyzing recruitment delays, don't base your conclusion on just a handful of job openings. Look at least 30 cases to draw meaningful insights. Second, avoid bias in the time frame you choose. The duration of the data must reflect the actual trend, not a selectively favorable or unfavorable period. If performance was poor in the last quarter but stable before that, don't just pick 3 months of bad data to make a stronger case. A 12-month window is typically a fair and balanced period that captures both highs and lows and gives a realistic view of the problem. Third, and most importantly, highlight the magnitude of the consequence. Quantify the impact in clear, specific terms. Here are a couple of examples. If your Net Promoter Score, NPS, drops below 62%, the company might face a penalty of $24,000 from a key client. In another case, poor product quality may have led to 20 lakh rupees in customer refunds over the past year. In our specific case with XYZ Holdings, delayed hiring has resulted in a revenue loss estimated at 8 to 10 crores annually, and has contributed to declining customer satisfaction and missed production targets. Being this specific and data-driven not only strengthens the problem statement, It builds urgency and aligns stakeholders around the need for action. By integrating all key components, quantitative data, performance gaps, statistical validity, and real impact, we create a problem statement that clearly shows the severity of the issue and the need for action. This approach moves us from vague concerns to a credible, data-driven case that drives alignment and decision-making. A strong problem statement sets the stage for meaningful, results-focused solutions. To truly understand and communicate a problem, we must represent it numerically. This means going beyond just saying, "There's an issue," and instead showing how big the issue is, how often it happens, and how far we are from where we should be. There are 3 key characteristics we should always focus on. 1. Central tendency. This tells us what a typical data point looks like. We usually use mean, average, add all values and divide by the number of observations. Median, the middle value when data is sorted. Mode, the most frequently occurring value. For example, if the average hiring time is 55 days, but the target is 30 days, we immediately see there's a 25-day delay on average. Second variation tells us how consistent or inconsistent the process is. Range, the difference between the highest and lowest values. Standard deviation, how much individual data points differ from the average. Interquartile range, how spread out the middle 50% of the data is. For example, if some roles are filled in 30 days and others in 90, the range is 60 days, indicating a high inconsistency in hiring timelines. Third, shape of the data distribution. This helps us understand the overall pattern of the data. Is it normal, bell-shaped, meaning most data is around the average? Is it skewed, leaning more to one side, which could mean most hiring is slow, but a few quick hires pull the average down? Or bimodal, meaning there are 2 common outcomes, like some roles filled quickly and others very slowly. Understanding the shape gives us insight into where the real issues lie. Finally, always compare your current performance to your target. If your goal is 30 days to hire, but the mean is 55 with high variation and a right-skewed distribution, the data clearly shows a systemic problem, not just a one-off. This structured, statistical approach makes the problem transparent, measurable, and ready for improvement. It tells decision-makers exactly what's wrong and how far we are from where we need to be. Let's explore how to present process performance data in a way that highlights both the issue and its context. Example 1. We analyzed performance data over the past year and found the mean process rate is 60 CPH, with a standard deviation of 32 CPH. The customer's target is 80 CPH, showing a significant 20 CPH gap. The high standard deviation also tells us performance is highly inconsistent, which further impacts reliability. Example 2. Now let's look at accuracy scores over the last 3 months. The median accuracy is 94%. The minimum is 84%, and the maximum is 100%. The first quartile, Q1, is 90%, and the third quartile, Q3, is 96%. This shows that while the overall accuracy looks good, there is variation in performance, with some results falling well below expected levels. It helps identify opportunities for focused improvement. By presenting data like this, showing central tendency, variability, and how the performance aligns with customer or internal targets, you give a clear data-driven view of the problem. This helps stakeholders quickly understand what's wrong, how serious it is, and where to focus efforts. In this slide, we're discussing tools used for numeric representation. When working with data, especially numerical data, it's essential to use effective tools that allow us to understand and communicate the patterns and trends within the numbers. One such tool is the graphical summary, as shown in this image. It is a comprehensive visual representation that combines a histogram, box plot, and key statistical values. These elements give a quick overview of the data distribution, central tendency, and variability. The histogram shows the frequency distribution of the production data in kilograms. The box plot below it highlights the spread and identifies potential outliers. On the right side, we have detailed statistics such as the mean, median, standard deviation, variance, and results of a normality test, Anderson-Darling. Additionally, we see confidence intervals for the mean, median, and standard deviation, which give us insight into the reliability of these statistics. Using this type of summary helps in making informed decisions by understanding not just the average production, but also how consistent and predictable the data is. It's a great way to combine visual and numerical analysis into one view. This slide continues our discussion on tools used for numeric representation, highlighting some of the most commonly used graphical tools in data analysis. Histograms are used to show the distribution of data. They help us quickly see patterns, such as skewness, or whether the data is normally distributed. Box plots are great for visualizing the spread and central tendency of data. They show medians, quartiles, and potential outliers, making it easy to spot variability in the dataset. Bar and line graphs are commonly used to compare data points either over time or against set targets. Bar graphs are especially helpful when comparing categories, while line graphs show trends more clearly over continuous intervals. Control charts are valuable tools in quality management. They allow us to monitor process performance and detect variability over time, helping to identify when a process may be going out of control. The key takeaway here is that by using these visual tools, we can communicate insights from data much more effectively. This not only helps in understanding the current performance, but also highlights gaps and opportunities for improvement in a process. In this slide, we focus on how to interpret a graphical summary, beginning with the p-value, which is part of the normality test. Understanding this step is essential because it tells us whether the data follows a normal distribution, a key assumption in many statistical analyses. The p-value is found in the upper right section of the graphical summary, under the Anderson-Darling normality test. Here's how to interpret it. If the p-value is less than 0.05, it indicates that the data is non-normal, meaning it does not follow a bell-shaped curve. This suggests that we may need to use non-parametric methods for analysis. If the p-value is 0.05 or greater, the data is considered approximately normal, which is often a favorable condition for many statistical tools and tests. This is just the first step in reading a graphical summary, but it's a critical one because the assumptions we make about the data distribution guide which analysis tools and conclusions we can trust. We'll continue exploring other components of the graphical summary in the next steps. Continuing with our step-by-step guide on how to read a graphical summary, this slide focuses on steps 2 and 3, determining central tendency and variation. Step 2. Determine the measure of central tendency. When the data is non-normal, we rely on the median as the preferred measure. That's because the median is more resistant to the effects of skewed data and outliers. If the data is normally distributed, you can use either the mean or the median. However, the mean is generally preferred in this case because of its strong statistical properties in normally distributed datasets. Step 3. Choose the appropriate measure of variation. Once you've selected your measure of central tendency, choose a suitable metric for variation. If you're using the mean, It should be paired with the standard deviation to understand how spread out the data is around the mean. The graph on the right visually reinforces these concepts. It shows the relationship between mode, median, and mean in a skewed distribution, and also illustrates how standard deviation, sigma, affects the width of the bell curve. These two steps help deepen your understanding of the data's central value and how much variation exists around it. Crucial for making informed decisions. This slide wraps up our process for reading a graphical summary, with a focus on how to interpret data when using the median as the measure of central tendency. When relying on the median, it's important to also consider the 5-number summary. Minimum, the smallest observed value. Quartile 1, Q1, the value below which 25% of the data falls. Quartile 3, Q3, the value below which 75% of the data falls. Maximum, the highest observed value. These values offer a complete picture of the distribution and variability in the data. This is especially helpful when dealing with skewed datasets or when outliers are present, as they highlight how spread out the data is and where most of it lies. By following these 3 key steps, checking for normality, determining the appropriate measure of central tendency, and choosing the right variation metric, you can confidently interpret a graphical summary and draw meaningful insights from your data. This structured approach ensures that the analysis remains accurate and that any decisions made based on this data are well informed. On this slide, we're presenting example 1 to illustrate a real-world problem statement from the insurance industry, specifically related to insurance back-office operations. The example talks about a company, XYZ, which has outsourced its back-office tasks to our organization. This work is handled by a 40-seater team working 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. Recently, the company has faced a significant increase in operational issues, which we begin to outline here. The core of the problem lies in the growing backlog of tasks, which has had a ripple effect. Decreased quality of work, impacting customer satisfaction, and triggering financial penalties. Frequent hiring to fill gaps has increased recruitment and training costs. The rising backlog has also led to overtime payouts, putting additional strain on operational efficiency. This example helps us understand how operational inefficiencies in a support process can have direct financial and service-level consequences. It sets the stage for identifying improvement opportunities and applying data-driven solutions. This slide presents example 2, focusing on a problem commonly encountered in the e-commerce industry, specifically related to customer satisfaction. The company in question, XYZ, is a leading e-commerce platform offering a wide range of multi-brand products to both businesses and consumers. To track performance, the company conducts customer satisfaction (CSAT) surveys regularly to evaluate customer experience and loyalty. However, the results from these surveys have indicated a consistent decline in CSAT scores. This decline is significant enough to raise concerns at the top management level. The implications of this issue are serious: reduced customer retention and fewer repeat purchases, a weakened brand image, increased customer churn, meaning more customers are leaving the platform, the potential loss of ability to charge premium prices due to a drop in perceived value. In summary, this example illustrates how deteriorating customer satisfaction can lead to broad business consequences, from revenue loss to brand erosion. It reinforces the importance of launching a focused improvement initiative to address customer feedback and enhance user experience. Now let's look at example 3, which highlights a financial and compliance-related issue within a manufacturing context, specifically focused on input tax credit losses. The company here, XYZ Holdings is a leading player in India's building materials sector, offering a wide variety of roofing solutions and construction products. Following the implementation of the new GST regulations, XYZ has faced significant difficulties in securing the Input Tax Credit, ITC, from its vendors. This problem is rooted in various operational challenges, which may include issues like incomplete or delayed vendor documentation, errors in GST filings, or lack of internal controls and reconciliation processes. The consequence of this issue is quite serious. It has led to substantial ITC-related losses, which in turn directly impact the company's financial performance and bottom line. Without proper intervention, this issue can escalate and may even lead to compliance penalties. So, this example underscores the importance of tightening operational and financial controls in response to changing tax regulations. It's a clear case where immediate corrective action is essential to prevent further losses and ensure compliance. In example 4, we continue with XYZ Holdings, but this time we shift our focus to a critical operational issue: hiring delays and talent acquisition. As you know, timely hiring is essential for maintaining operational efficiency. And this is especially true in sectors like construction, where project timelines and deliverables are tightly scheduled. XYZ Holdings is currently struggling to recruit the right talent within the required timelines, and this delay is not just a staffing concern. It has broader organizational consequences. Specifically, this hiring bottleneck is hampering key business goals, affecting production output, quality standards, and customer satisfaction, CSAT, and potentially leading to loss of repeat business opportunities due to compromised service levels. This clearly illustrates how resource availability, especially skilled manpower, directly ties into business performance and customer experience. Addressing hiring delays through improved talent acquisition strategies and streamlined HR processes can be a powerful lever for organizational growth and operational stability. Goal Statement. Let's now talk about how to craft a clear and actionable goal statement, which is a key part of any improvement initiative. A well-defined goal statement must clearly address 3 essential components. Timeline. This answers the question, by when? It's important to make the goal time-bound, giving the team a clear deadline for achieving the improvement. Without a timeline, efforts can lose focus or urgency. Target value. This answers how much. You need a measurable outcome that quantifies the improvement. It helps in tracking progress and knowing whether the goal has been met. Focus area. This answers what. It defines the specific process, metric, or performance area being improved. Clarity here ensures that everyone understands exactly what the initiative is targeting. Let's look at the example provided. Reduce average handling time, AHT, to a mean of 5 minutes within the next 3 months. The focus area is average handling time. The target value is a mean of 5 minutes. The timeline is within the next 3 months. This goal is specific, measurable, and time-bound, everything you need for an effective goal statement. As we develop our goal statement, there are several important considerations to keep in mind to ensure it's both realistic and impactful. Customer-defined targets. Always align the project goals with what the customer expects or requires. If it's not feasible, we must have clear justifications, but the goal should still reflect the voice of the customer as much as possible. Confidence interval of current data. Before setting a target, analyze the confidence interval of your baseline data. Set the goal outside this interval to make sure the improvement is statistically significant and not due to random variation. Competitor benchmarking. Use industry benchmarks to help define realistic and competitive goals. Knowing how your competitors perform provides valuable context and helps in setting meaningful targets. Internal benchmarking. You can also benchmark against internal best practices. Look at high-performing teams or processes within your organization to identify aspirational but achievable goals. These practices help ensure that the goal is not just a number, but a strategic, data-driven, and customer-aligned target that adds value to the business. On this slide, we see two examples of well-defined goal statements that clearly follow the structure we discussed earlier: timeline, target value, and focus area. Achieve an average handling time of 5 minutes within the next 4 months. Here, the focus area is average handling time, AHT, a common performance metric in customer service or support operations. The target value is clearly defined, 5 minutes. The timeline is set for 4 months, making the goal time-bound and actionable. Increase the process accuracy score to 98% within 3 months. In this case, the focus area is process accuracy. The target value is 98%, giving us a clear improvement benchmark. The goal is to be achieved in 3 months, again making it time-bound and measurable. Both examples are SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, and serve as strong models for writing your own project or process improvement objectives. Scope statement. The scope statement plays a critical role in project planning. Its main purpose is to clearly define the boundaries of the project, what is in scope and what is out of scope. This clarity is important for several reasons. First, it ensures that everyone involved, team members, leaders, and stakeholders, has a shared understanding of what the project will deliver. It helps set realistic expectations and ensures the project team focuses only on the agreed-upon objectives, avoiding distractions or unplanned work. By defining what's excluded, the scope statement also protects the team from scope creep, where additional tasks or features are added without proper review or approval. Most importantly, it helps avoid misunderstandings, misaligned priorities, and wasted resources. In short, a well-crafted scope statement keeps the project on track, within budget, and aligned with the intended goals. A well-defined scope statement is essential for project success. It clearly outlines what the project will include and what it won't, helping everyone stay aligned and focused. One powerful tool in defining scope is subgroup benchmarking. By comparing similar teams, departments, or projects, we can set realistic, achievable goals and avoid overcommitting. Now, one of the biggest risks in any project is scope creep, the gradual, uncontrolled expansion of a project's goals or deliverables. It often leads to missed deadlines, budget overruns, and even project failure. A clear, well-communicated scope statement is your best defense against this. It ensures stakeholders agree on what success looks like, and it gives the team a solid framework to stay on track. Ultimately, a strong scope statement isn't just a document. It's a tool for clarity, focus, and accountability throughout the project. Identify team. Let's talk about the RASIC framework, a simple yet powerful tool used to define and assign roles and responsibilities within a project. RASIC stands for Responsible, the person or people who actually do the work. They are accountable for completing the task. Approve. This is the individual who has the final authority to approve outcomes, decisions, or deliverables. Support. These are the team members who assist with the task by providing resources, expertise, or hands-on help. Inform. These are stakeholders who don't take part directly, but must be kept updated on progress and outcomes. Using the RASIC model ensures clarity. Everyone knows their role, which reduces confusion, overlap, or missed responsibilities. It's commonly used in Lean Six Sigma projects, but applies just as well to any type of project or initiative where clear accountability is essential. A well-defined RASIC chart helps streamline communication and keeps the team aligned.